Hello and welcome to another review of a film that I've seen on Mubi. This time I'm reviewing the film Sycorax, directed by Lois Patiño and Matías Piñeiro. Now, this is a film that's based on Shakespeare's play The Tempest, and I think in order to fully appreciate this film, you really need to know the play. It's not a play I know very well. I have some basic knowledge of it. But at the same time, I think a film that is based on something else should stand up in its own right and it should be possible to watch it and taking it at face value. So that's what I tried to do. I didn't try and read the play beforehand, which could be an interesting thing to do. I just took everything at face value. This film is only 21 minutes, which is a great length, and it actually allowed me to watch it 3 times. And overall, I quite enjoyed it. And each time I learned a little bit more about The Tempest. I think it probably tells us everything we need to know. So I think it does stand alone by itself. In the movie description, it tells us that Sycorax is a character that doesn't actually appear in the play. She's mentioned in the text as a ugly, wicked witch and a kind of negative presence. And I think that the play is an attempt to propose a different interpretation of Sycorax than is given by Shakespeare in the way that the characters actually describe her. So I think it's an interesting idea of that this film is trying to undertake. The film is really compelling and really good to look at. I really liked the opening shot and the colours, and one thing that's really enjoyable about this film is its use of transitions between shots and the way it merges pictures together in a really interesting way, that the transitions are really slow and so pictures overlap. And I think that it's arguable that the whole film is a performance, is theatre, because it starts off by telling us that the film is taking place on an uninhabited island, but as we see, as that is said, we see that a woman is walking down a street in a town. And so it's clearly not uninhabited. I really liked the fact that the characters of the play are presented as the camera just moves around different people in the town, and it certainly appears as if kind of random people have been chosen sitting around the town and presented as the characters. So again, this idea of the whole thing is performance, even the kind of ordinary life. I really liked as well, there was the text, even though it's a short film, there is quite a lot of repetition in this film. There's an audition where a series of women are auditioning for the part of Sycorax, and they repeat the same lines. And so we get this, I think, 14 times, this queue of women who just are delivering the same line. And then at the end, the woman who's chosen to play Sycorax actually does repeat the same line multiple times, and so repetition is a big part of this film, and it kind of works really well. I do feel that overall this film has a kind of spiritual dimension to it. It's about nature and the power of nature, and nature being protective and not evil, and that somehow Sycorax is associated with that rather than being a kind of evil presence. Watching it the second and third time, I realised that we see someone highlighting text from the actual play, and the words that are highlighted are all natural words like fire, snow, wind, night, bees, swamp, and so I think that there's a clue there in the film is trying to extract a meaning which is in the book, but not necessarily obvious. And I think that one of the characters asks what the women at the audition are going to say, and the response is that they are only going to say words from the play, that no word will be used that doesn't exist in the play. So by selecting these words out, they're delivered in an order which they're not found in the book, but they perhaps give it new meaning, and they give a voice to a character that doesn't have a voice in the play. And I think this is really interesting because it's kind of proposing a different view of Sycorax, and whereas Shakespeare used the trope of the wicked witch, we now kind of interpret the historical treatment of women as witches as something misogynistic, and perhaps powerful women threatening the patriarchy, and not certainly not all witches being a kind of evil presence and force. And I think that's what this film is really looking at. It doesn't really have a straightforward narrative. It is ambiguous, it is uncertain. I think it's a film that you experience, that you're left with a feeling at the end of it. As I say, the more times I watched it, I've seen it 3 times now, I do feel like I understand more about it, although it's never explained. I don't think this film is amazing, but I did find it really thought-provoking, and I'd say it's really well worth watching. Next time I'm reviewing Bergman Island, directed by Mia Hansen-Løve. See you next time.